watch your hands. You should watch your mouth. Bitches press. I mean, it's a mouth to mouth.
These thing has to do. So
that's a good point because people, you know, you rarely hear UAE come up. I mean, I regularly bring up trashing the Saudis and Israel and Pakistan, whatever, but UAE doesn't come up that much unless they're not allowing rainbow flag shirts at the soccer game.
And so you can say whatever you want about the Saudis, but I'll tell you this: they know how to make a durable passport. They can withstand plane crashes, building collapses.
Oh, they don't make passports like that no more.
They don't make passports like that anymore. So here's a guy who spent 5 years in a foxhole in Da Nang. We thought it'd be funny if we replaced everyone in his apartment complex with Viet Cong. Now let's watch the fun as he goes to pay his rent. My good friend from Milwaukee's hilarious comedy bit. If you're wondering why your favorite athletes remain silent, or worse, published Israeli propaganda, listen to what happened when Dwight Howard tweeted. All he did was tweet "Free Palestine." Watch what happened.
So I tweet "Free Palestine." Less than 10 minutes after I tweet that, I get a call from the commissioner of the NBA.
Stop it.
Agents, people like working with my foundation at the time, Texas, you gotta erase this tweet. You gotta take this down. You're gonna get it. I'm like, what did I do that was so bad?
Can somebody explain to me?
Yeah, can somebody explain? You know, and it was just like because I went against the grain. I said something that people didn't like, and I, you know, now
not people didn't like, they didn't like.
So now it's like I gotta stand on what I believe and how I feel, and not go back on it.
Yeah.
And when you're in the league, you be in that place where if I say too much, or if I say something, I may not get a job no more.
That's that 70% of people that's out the league that got you.
I gotta hold my tongue.
Yeah, well, that's why the whole system is slavery, right there. The whole system is slavery. Even if you get paid a lot, you're still a slave. Watch your mouth, slave. That's everybody. Everybody whose job can be taken away for saying a truthful thing.
Yep. And, you know, the problem with saying "Free Palestine" to a Zionist is that they think it means that all the land is now free to take, like a swag bag.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. They don't say thanks.
No thanks, no tip. Yeah, Free Palestine just sounds like, no, oh yeah, it's ours to take.
All right, so that's 10, right?
And Misha's clip, please.
Oh, I have one more to play.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Woo! Again, Katism says, Kurt is too reasonable and non-emotional for the chat. Thank you so much for that. Kurt on Duncan Trussell was even better than on Rogan. Coffee John. Look at you, Coffee John.
Well,
Duncan Trussell never invites me on his show.
Duncan's, okay, first of all, I'm
is
probably
Duncan
better on
in
Joe's.
Austin?
Yeah, I was probably better on Joe's because it was more coherent than I would usually be. But on Duncan, Duncan is into all the weird shit I'm into, so I can really get into some weird shit with him. So that's probably what he means.
Okay. I will check it out. Sparky, crazy about you. Come on, Sparky.
Okay, ready?
Back to Jimmy.
So here's our resident. So a man performing during the Kendrick Lamar halftime concert at the Super Bowl unfurled a Palestinian flag and was chased off stage and finally tackled and was removed by security.
Oh, thank God.
The NFL confirmed that the individual is going to be banned for life from all NFL stadiums. The good news is the man can still watch games from outside the stadium, where the NFL will control his access to food and water while the U.S. government sends bombs to drop on the man's house.
He's been displaced from the stadium.
Yeah. So here it is. Here's how it happened.
Is it going to have music? Good for him.
Good for him.
Bold.
Good for him.
And alone.
I wonder if the security thinks he's part of the show.
Oh.
Oh, now they got him.
Oh.
Now they got him.
Oh, men in suits, not even in football uniforms.
Right. Men in suits had to tackle him. That's another
more suits.
different kind of tackle. And
Look
then
at all
he
these
just
suits.
and he just collapses like a baby when you're trying to pick up a baby. That's a smart. I like that move. Seems like
Look at
people
this
are
stupid
cheering
dance
for
going
him.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't play the music for copyright, right?
Right.
So, thank God for those courageous security people protecting me from my own conscience
I can't hear
and
you.
having to look at what my tax dollars helped perpetrate. I don't want to
are
see
you
that
talking
kind
about
of
the
guilt
show?
trip while I'm watching men brutally smash into each other for sport.
Well, I don't want to see it during a rap concert, especially while Kendrick is saying, turn the TV off.
That's what he was saying, right?
It's hard to hear because I think he insisted on not lip syncing, which doesn't work in that setting. And I just imagine doing that stupid dance while someone's being tackled by security. Like, I would never be able to keep my concentration.
Here's a story about it. Super Bowl halftime performer detained after unfurling suit. So he was one of the performers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. Bold.
Good for him.
What's the Sudan part? I don't really get it. I
Well,
didn't
I'm
see the
gonna-
Gaza part of it.
We will explain it to you in a second. It's coming up. It's in this segment. A performer in Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show was detained late Sunday after showing a Sudanese Palestinian flag on the field. The NFL confirmed to the Associated Press that the individual will be banned for life, but they could still bomb his house. But how did he become the only interesting part of the halftime show? Isn't that
It really was the only interesting part. Like, Kendrick Lamar's a good rapper, but like, he's such a he's the same as Drake, the guy he hates. They got him dressed up with a crown of thorns like Jesus, just like they did with Kanye years ago. Now Kanye's crazy, and 10 years from now, Kendrick will be selling swastika t-shirts and gibbering nonsense.
That's interesting how they don't want to give the name of the guy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're usually anxious to give it out. Yeah.
yeah, that is weird.
So the New Orleans Police Department also said authorities were working to determine applicable charges. New Orleans Police Department said the statement to the Hill that the individual detained, an adult black male, was ejected from the stadium after the incident. How's he going to find out what happened during the game?
Yeah. Wait,
Oh.
did you get to hear how the song ended?
No arrest, no summons was issued. Really? They don't want to arrest him? And the individual's not going to be identified. Isn't that interesting? Is it because they don't want that guy being interviewed? Because if they identified him and arrested him, if he arrested him, that's public record. So everyone would know who he is. And then he would be going around everybody's podcast doing interviews.
Oh, yeah,
And that's the last thing they want.
right.
So they didn't charge him. What?
Oh, we've got the name according to Grok.
Oh, Grok has the name?
Or does it matter?
I can't pronounce that name either.
Oh, maybe that's why they didn't put the name.
The individual stood on a prop car used in the performance and unfurled a combination flag with the words Sudan and Gaza written on it. The NFL told the AP that the performer hid the flag during the beginning of the show and revealed it late in the performance. No one involved in the production knew of his plans. The performance continued without a major disruption, unfortunately, because the performance was boring. This legend has been identified. Oh, here he is. That's him. That's the legend.
Oh, I can't say that.
I can't.
Carney,
I don't know how to say his name. Everybody just calls him Buster. The performer who raised a dual Sudanese-Palestinian flag during Kendrick Lamar's, he has no regrets about the stunt, which exposed a massive security failure for a major event attended by the U.S. president. So that's his name. Zulkarnain Natambu, confirmed that he unfurled the banner emblazoned with the words Sudan and Gaza in New Orleans on Sunday as a message of solidarity to the victims of those conflicts. Good for him. He has been banned from the NFL stadiums. He's seen by millions. He says he was hired as a participant in the show and was part of the Super Bowl preparations over the previous 2 weeks, raising questions over the extent of the vetting process. He should be charged with the crime of exhibiting that he has a conscience. Is that? I think that's a crime.
Also, I'm sure it violates some kind of anti-BDS law, which I think are just laws that you're not allowed to boycott or divest from an Israel investment.
You are charged with the crime of demonstrating your conscience during an event concocted by the ancient Romans to make you love war and authority.
And also give you brain damage.
If you could hear it, we can't play it, but the funniest part was how long it took the guys in the booth to figure out that was the wrong color flag for the show. Hey, that one guy's really not staying with the dance routine. He says he deliberately unfurled his flag at the same time other banners were displayed as part of Lamar's set, and that the celebrated rapper knew nothing. That may quieten? That's not a word. That may quiet speculations on social media that Nantumbu's protest was sanctioned by organizers of the halftime show and that the protest was effectively an inside job. It wasn't a part of the plan. Okay, it wasn't. We get it. But here's this guy to tell you about the Sudan. You ready for this guy? Watch this.
Look, in case you couldn't tell, I'm British, and so I don't really care about the Super Bowl. But I do have to say that this guy really piqued my interest. The man who, during Kendrick Lamar's performance, held up a flag with Sudan Gaza on it and was later tackled by security. And I think that this is a very important act, because people should realize how interconnected what's happened in Gaza over the last 16 months and the horrors of Sudan really are. Now, in case you didn't know what's happening in Sudan, since about 2021, one of the most horrifying militias in the world, known as the Rapid Support Forces, has been waging a brutal campaign of horrors that I really can't even detail in this video. And the reason that they've been able to do this is because they are backed by one of America and the West's key allies in the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates. Now, the UAE always tries to deny their involvement in what's happening in Sudan, but their fingerprints are all over it. In fact, they've even been caught smuggling weapons disguised as humanitarian aid to the RSF. And the reasons that they are doing this are multiple. First of all, they like the mercenaries that they're able to get from Sudan. They deployed them against the Yemeni people in the 2010s, and they love the amount of gold that they can extract from Sudan. And finally, they think Hemedti will make a great leader for the Sudanese people, because like Sisi, who they propped up in Egypt, this guy will enforce political quietism and quite likely will normalize relations with Israel. And this is the part of the reason that the Sudanese and the Palestinian struggle are so deeply intertwined. People need to realize that forces like the United Arab Emirates in the Middle East are just as bad as Israel. They are key to Israel being able to do what it does, because this is a country which is deciding who will rule the Middle East. In 2011, they launched a counter-revolution to ensure that the Middle East didn't get democracy and might appoint leaders who wouldn't be interested in the American worldview for the region. That's why they helped to depose of Mohamed Morsi in Egypt. And so to this brave man who risked so much, kudos to you. And I hope he makes more people realize the interconnectedness of the Sudanese and the Palestinian struggle against Western imperialism.
So that's what the Sudanese